Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today, Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 1:57 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Close family ties keep cheaters in check. Why almost all multicellular organisms begin life as a single cell. Science Daily, December 15, 2011. Any multicellular animal, from a blue whale to a human being, poses a special difficulty for the theory of evolution. Most of the cells in its body will die without reproducing, and only a privileged few will pass their genes to the next generation. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 1:58 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. How could the extreme degree of cooperation multicellular existence requires ever evolve? Why aren't all creatures unicellular individualists determined to pass on their own genes? Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:01 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. If amoeba occur in well-mixed compilation groups, then cheaters will always be able to thrive by freeloading on their cooperative neighbors. But if groups derive from a single cell, cheaters will usually occur in all cheater groups and will have no cooperators to exploit. And today, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:02 a.m. Eastern Time. The only exceptions are brand new cheater mutants and all cooperative groups, and thus these could pose a problem if the mutation rate is high enough and there are many cells in the group to mutate. In fact, the scientists calculated just how many times amoeba that arose from a single cell can safely divide before cooperation degenerates into a free-for-all. It's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:03 a.m. Eastern Time. Hook note. The cell population bottlenecks that kill off diversity and restart the population from a single cell are powerful stabilizers of cellular cooperation, the scientists conclude. In other words, our liver, blood, and bone cells help our eggs and sperm pass on their genes because we passed through a single cell bottleneck at the moment of conception. And today, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:04 a.m. Eastern Time. Note: the social amoeba can be found almost anywhere, in Antarctica and deserts, in the canopies of tropical forest, and in the forest park, the urban park that adjoins Washington University. The amoeba spend most of their lives as tiny amorphous blobs of streaming protoplasm crawling through the soil looking for E. coli and other bacteria to eat. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Things become interesting when the bacteria are scarce and the amoeba begin to starve. They then release chemicals that attract other amoeba, which follow this trial until they bump into one another. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:05 a.m. Eastern Time. A mound of some 10,000 amoeba forms and then elongates into a slug, a few millimeters long, that crawls forward, but never backwards towards heat and light. The slug slopes moving when it has reached a suitable place for dispersal, and then the front 20% of the amoeba die to produce a sturdy stock. That remaining cells flow up, and they're becoming hardly spores. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:06 a.m. Eastern Time. Crucially, the 20% of the amoeba in the stock sacrifice their genes so that the other 80% can pass theirs on. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:07 a.m. Eastern Time. Utah State University had given a genetically diverse collection of wild-caught clones, genetically identified amoeba. They mixed amoeba from two clones together and then examined the fruiting bodies to see where the clones ended up. Each fruiting body included cells from both clones, but some clones contributed disproportionately to the spore body. They had cheated. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:09 a.m. Eastern Time. How can a blob of protoplasm cheat? The answer, it turns out, is many different ways. They might have a mutation that makes an adhesion molecule less sticky, for example, so that they slide to the back of the slug, the part that forms spores. But there are trade-offs, because if you are too slippery, you'll fall off the slug and lose all advantages of being part of the group. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:11 a.m. Eastern Time. Natural-born cheaters. Mulling this over. To wonder if it would be possible to break the social contract among the amoeba by setting up conditions where relatedness was low and each clonal lineage encountered mostly strangers and rarely relatives. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:12 a.m. Eastern Time. At the end of the experiment, we assessed the cheating ability of the descendants by mixing equal numbers of descendants and ancestors and checking to see whether the descendants ended up in the stalks or the spores of the fruiting bodies. They found that in nearly all cases, the descendants cheated their ancestors. What's more, when descendant amoeba were grown as individual clones, about a third of them were unable to form fruiting bodies. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time. Many of the mutants, in other words, were obligate cheaters, having lost the ability to form their own fruiting bodies. They were able to survive only by freeloading, or taking advantage of the amoeba that had retained the ability to cooperate. This result shows the cheater mutations that threaten multicellularity occur naturally and are even favored as long as the population of amoeba remains genetically diverse. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:17 a.m. Eastern Time. Note: what happens in the wild, but the scientists were aware that the obligate cheaters are either very rare or altogether missing among wild social amoeba. They have not found any obligate cheaters in the more than 2,000 wild clones they have sampled. They also knew that in the wild the amoeba and fruiting bodies are close kin, if not clones. What prevents cooperation in the wild populations from degeneration in the laboratory free for all? Could be the difference to be that the amoeba in the laboratory were distant relations and those in the wild are kissing kin. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: suppose a scientist thought one amoeba ventured alone into a pristine field of bacteria as it grew and multiplied, making copies of itself. How long would it take for cheating mutations to appear? What was the mutation rate, and how successfully would these mutations proliferate? How strongly would they be selected? At good day, is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:21 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: in this experiment, amoeba that mutated didn't have to compete against amoeba that were faithful replicators. In the absence of selection, all but the most severe mutations were also reproduced and become a permanent part of the lineage genome. The scientists allowed 90 different lines of amoeba to accumulate mutations in this way. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:22 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: we found that among those 90 lines, not a single one had lost the ability to fruit. So that's almost 100 lines, almost 1,000 generations, so 100,000 opportunities to lose fruiting, and none of them did. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the rate was low enough that if fruiting bodies were forming in the wild from amoeba that were all descended from one spore, cheating would never be an issue. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:26 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: what this has to do with elephants and blue whales. But the scientists were inquisitive enough to ask another bigger question. They used calculations invented for population genetics to ask how many times the amoeba could divide, theoretically, before cheating became a problem. What if, they asked, we let an initial single amoeba divide until there were as many of amoeba as there are cells as a fruit fly, and then transferred one amoeba and allowed it to divide until the daughter colony reached fruit fly size, and so on. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:28 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, what if we let the colonies grow to human size, to elephant size, to blue whale size? Would the cheetahs bring down the whale-sized Dictee colony? To answer, it turned out was no. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:29 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: a whale-sized Dictee colony is not the same thing as a whale, but nonetheless, the experiments suggest how organisms over the course of evolution have sidestepped the cheating trap and maintained the levels of cooperation multicellular bodies be met. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: a multicellular body, like the human body, is an incredible cooperative thing, and the social biologists have learned that really cooperative things are hard to evolve because of the potential for cheating. It is the single-cell bottleneck that generates high relatedness among the cells that in turn allows them to cooperate. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:31 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: our liver cells have no kick against our sperm or egg cells. In other words, because they are all nearly genetically identical, descendants of a single fertilized egg. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:43 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: how granular materials become solid discovery may be boon to engineers manufacture. Science Daily, December 14, 2011. A stroll on the beach can mean sinking your toes into smooth sand or walking firm-footed on a surface that appears almost solid. While both properties are commonplace, exactly what it is that makes granular materials change from a flowing state to a jammed or solid state. Whether it is a sand on a beach or rice grains in a hopper, being able to predict the behavior of granular matter can help engineers and manufacturers of a wide range of products. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:44 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: in a study out this week in the Journal of Nature, researchers at the Reddy's collaboration with Duke University explain how granular materials are transformed from a loose state to a solid state when force is applied at a particular angle, in a process known as shearing. Traditionally, people thought of as shearing as a mechanism for breaking up materials. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:47 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: Researchers analyzed an experiment performed by Duke, which used a photoelastic disc of two different sizes to represent granular materials such as rice or sand. The discs were placed into a plastic box whose shape could be precisely manipulated and measured. The box was illuminated from the bottom, forcing light through the disc. A polarized lens placed on top of the box revealed the photoelastic disc, creating colorful patterns called force chains, caused by the pressure they received when the sides of the box were moved to create a rectangle. Using a computer program, Duke researchers were able to determine the amount of force that was exerted by the disc on each other end. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Hey, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:47 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The polarized light changes the index of refraction of the materials and makes the patterns non-uniform. We then use those numbers to calculate those forces and the geometry of the contact network that the disc forms. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Hey, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:49 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The researchers found that when the shape of a box changed due to shear, the disc exhibited a solid state even without the density changing. It is remarkable because usually it is an increase in density that transforms loose material to a solid. For theorists like us, these experiments were wonderful because we can see exactly what the system is doing. How these patterns change as the discs are pushed and altered gives us information such as how many contacts each grain makes and the force at every contact. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Hey, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:54 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Researchers say that using this data, Bai constructed a theory that explains how the solid is being formed. It is possible that if there was no friction between the discs, that they would have been able to slide past each other and not get jammed. We now are performing computer simulations to see if shear jamming will occur without friction. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Hey, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:55 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In an abstract written in 2008, Jamming a Granular Matter, explained that jamming is an extension of the concept of freezing to the transition from a fluid state to a jam state. Understanding jamming in granular systems, they say, is important from a technological environment and basic science perspective. A jamming of grains in silos can cause catastrophic failures, which need to be understood in order to prevent and control such an avalanche that killed Pro on. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Hey, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:56 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Shearing is a major force in nature. When wind blows over the earth, shearing occurs in the sand. Understanding what shear does is very important. We have a very good theoretical framework as to how water behaves. We don't have any fundamental theoretical framework to predict how sand behaves when the wind is blowing fast or slow. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Hey, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:57 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. This information could potentially be used to further understand things like avalanches and earthquakes and erosion. Those are effects of shearing of granular materials. What we are trying to do is get a basic understanding of how sand responds to shear. Most natural forces are shearing forces. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Hey, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 2:58 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The research shows that the friction can fundamentally change the nature of granular materials in intriguing ways. A program director, Condensed Matter and Materials Theory, National Science Foundation. Friction and shear reveal the richness of possible states of granular matter, pointing us down the road to paved with new discoveries. These may expose deeper connections between jamming and seemingly unrelated phenomena, spanning from earthquakes to transformations occurring in other kinds of matter, like water to ice. And hey, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Here, Sunday, December 18, 2011, 3:01 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In industries where hoppers are used, like loading rice grains onto a truck, for example, jamming can be a problem. One possible solution is to change the traditional shape in order to both prevent and break up jams. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 3:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Discovery of dark state could mean a brighter future for solar energy. Science Daily, December 15, 2011. The efficiency of conventional solar cells could be significantly increased according to new research on the mechanisms of solar energy conversion led by chemists, the University of Texas at Austin. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 3:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Zahu, his team had discovered that it is possible to double the number of electrons harvested from one photon of sunlight using an organic plastic semiconductor material. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 3:11 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Plastic semiconductor solar cell production has great advantages, one of which is low cost. A professor of chemistry combined with the vast capabilities for molecular design and synthesis, our discovery opens the door to an exciting new approach for solar energy conversion, leading to much higher efficiencies. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 3:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The maximum theoretical efficiency of the silicon solar cell in use today is approximately 31%, because much of the sun's energy hitting the cell is too high to be turned into unstable electricity. The energy in the form of hot electrons is instead lost as heat. Capturing hot electrons could potentially increase the efficiency of solar cell to electric power conversion as high as 66%. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:14 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Zhu and his team previously demonstrated that those hot electrons could be captured using semiconductor nanocrystals. They published that research in Science 2010. Zhu says the actual implementation of the viable technology based on that research is very challenging. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. For one thing, that 66% efficiency can only be achieved when highly focused sunlight is used, not just the raw sunlight that typically hits a solar panel. This creates problems when considering engineering a new material or device. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:16 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. To circumvent that problem, researchers found an alternative. They discovered that a photon produces a dark quantum shadow state, from which two electrons can then be efficiently captured to generate more energy in the semiconductor pentacene. Researchers said that exploiting the mechanism could increase solar cell efficiency to 44% without the need for focusing a solar beam, which would encourage more widespread use of solar technology. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Science behind the discovery. Absorption of photon in a pentacene semiconductor creates an excited electron hole pair called an exciton. The exciton is coupled quantum mechanically to a dark shadow state called a multi-exciton. This dark shadow state can be the most efficient source of two electrons via transfer to an electron acceptor material, such as fullerene, which was used in the study. Exploiting the dark shadow state to produce double the electrons could increase the solar cell efficiency to 44%. Today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:32 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Tiny protein helps bacteria talk and triggers defensive responses in plants. Science Daily, December 12, 2011. Scientists have discovered a new signal that helps invading bacteria communicate, but also helps targeted rice plant-coordinated defensive attacks on the disease-causing invaders, finding that could lead new methods of combating infection, not just in plants, but in humans. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:33 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Just as invading armies often use coded messages to coordinate attacks on their targets, so single-celled bacteria use biological signals to communicate when they attack plants and animals. Scientists have known this for 20 years. However, results from our study reveal a type of bacterial signal that has never been described before. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:34 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. UC Davis has a long history of tackling agricultural and environmental challenges related to rice production in the United States and around the world. Today, campus researchers are using molecular biology to better understand how to improve the hardiness and yield of this grain, which is a staple food for more than half of the world's population and an important model for plant research. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:35 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Up until now, scientists thought that two major groups of bacteria used two distinctly different types of communication codes. The small protein examined in this study doesn't fit into either of those previously identified communication codes. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:37 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. AX21 is made inside the bacterial cell and processed to generate a sort of signal that is secreted outside the bacterium. This signal tips off other bacteria to assemble themselves into elaborate protective bunkers called biofilms, which make the bacteria resistant to dying out in antibiotic treatment. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18, 2011, 3:38 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Additionally, AX21 triggers a change in the expression of nearly 500 bacterial genes, transforming the bacteria from fairly benign organisms into fierce invaders. In essence, through communication and communal living, the bacteria increase their chances of survival and proliferation. The bacteria multiply rapidly in the arteries that transport water, causing the plant to wither and die. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:40 a.m. Eastern Time. While most rice plants have little defense against the AX21-mediated bacterial attack, some rice plants carry an immune receptor called XA21 that detects that AX21 protein produced by the invading bacteria. XA21 belongs to a large class of immune receptors in plants and animals. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2011, 3:24 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The new study points out that the AX21 signaling protein triggers the XA21 immune receptor to biological alert the plant to launch a powerful defensive response against the invading bacteria. The researchers also demonstrated that the XA21 is present in all human disease-causing bacterium that is known to infect hospital patients. The study demonstrates that bacteria communicate using private messages. However, plant can intercept these messages and gain a tactile advantage in the evolutionary battle. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: detecting the heartbeat of smallest black hole candidate. Science Daily, December 15, 2011. An international team of astronomers has identified a candidate for the smallest known black hole using data from NASA Rosy X-ray Timing Explorer (RXTE). The evidence comes from the specific type of X-ray pattern nicknamed the heartbeat because of its resemblance to an electrocardiogram. The pattern until now has been recorded in only one other black hole system. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:25 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: named IGR J17091362 after the astronomical coordinates of its sky position, the binary system combines a normal star with a black hole that may weigh less than 3 times the sun's mass. That is near the theoretical mass boundary where black holes become possible. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:27 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: gas from the normal star stream stores the black hole and forms a disk around it. Friction within the disk heats the gas to millions of degrees, which is hot enough to emit X-rays. Cyclical variations in intensity of the X-rays observed reflect processes taking place within the gas disk. Scientists think that the most rapid changes occur near the black hole's event horizon, the point beyond which nothing, not even light, can escape. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:28 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: astronomers first became aware of the binary system during an outburst in 2003. Archival data from various space missions show it becomes active every few years. Its most recent outburst started in February and is ongoing. The system is located in the direction of the constellation Scorpius, but its distance is not well established. It could be as close as 16,000 light years or more than 65,000 light years away. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:29 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the record holder for wide-ranging X-ray variability is another black hole binary system named GRS 1915 and 105. This system is unique in displaying more than a dozen highly structured patterns, typically lasting between seconds and hours. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: we think that most of these patterns represent cycles of accumulation and ejection in an unstable disk, and we now see 7 of them. IGR J170991. Identifying these signatures in the second black hole system is very exciting. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:36 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: changes in the X-ray spectrum observed by RXTE during each beat reveal that the innermost region of the disk emits enough radiation to push back the gas, creating a strong outward wind that stops the inward flow, briefly starving the black hole and shutting down the jet. This corresponds to the faintest emission eventually the inner disk. It's so bright and hot it essentially disintegrates and plunges toward the black hole, re-establishing the jet and beginning the cycle anew. This entire process happens in as little as 40 seconds. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:39 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: while there is no direct evidence IGR J170991 possesses a particle jet, its heartbeat signature suggests that similar processes are at work. Researchers say that this system heartbeat emission can be 20 times fainter than JRS 1915 and can cycle some 8 times faster in as little as 5 seconds. Hey, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:41 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: astronomers estimate that GRS 1915 is about 14 times the sun's mass, placing it among the most massive known black hole that have formed because of the collapse of a single star. The research team analyzed 6 months of RXTE observations to compare the two systems, concluding that IGR J170991 must possess a minuscule black hole. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:42 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: just as the heart rate of a mouse is faster than the elephant's, the heart signals from these black holes scale according to their masses. An astrophysicist at the University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands and lead author of the paper describing the findings in November 4th issue of the Astrophysical Journal of Letters. Today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:43 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the researchers say this analysis is just like start of a larger program to compare both of these black holes in detail using data from RXTE, NASA Swift satellite, and European XMM Newton Observatory. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:47 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Until this study, GRS 1915 was essentially a one-off, and there is only so much we can understand from a single example. Now, with a second system exhibiting similar types of variability, we really can begin to test how well we understand what happens at the brink of a black hole. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 4:47 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Launched in late 1995, RxTE is a second only to Hubble as the longest-serving of NASA operating astrophysicist mission. RxTE provides a unique observing window into the extreme environments of neutron stars and black holes. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Meteorite shock waves trigger dust avalanches on Mars. Science Daily, December 16, 2011. Dust avalanches around impact craters on Mars appear to be the result of the shock waves preceding the actual impact, according to the study led by the undergraduate student, University of Arizona. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:07 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. When a meteorite careens towards the dusty surface of the red planet, it kicks up dust and can cause avalanching even before the rock from outer space hits the ground. A research team led by an undergraduate student at the University of Arizona has discovered. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:08 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. We expect that some of the streaks of dust that we see on slopes are caused by seismic shaking during impact. We were surprised to find that it rather looks like shock waves and air trigger that avalanches even before the impact. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:09 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Because of Mars' thin atmosphere, which is 100 times less dense than Earth's, even small rocks that would burn up or break up before they could hit the ground here on Earth crash into the Martian surface relatively unimpeded. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:11 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Each year, about 20 fresh craters between 1 and 50 meters, 3 to 165 feet, show up in images taken by the HiRISE camera on board NASA Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. The High Resolution Imaging Science Experiment, or HiRISE, is operated by the UA's Lunar and Planetary Laboratory and has been photographing the Martian surface since 2006, revealing features down to less than 1 meter in size. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:13 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. For this study, the team zoomed in on a cluster of 5 large craters, which all form in one impact even close to Mars' equator, about 825 kilometers, 512 miles south of the boundary scarp of Olympus Mons, the tallest mountain in the solar system. Previous observations by the Mars Global Surveyor orbiter, which imaged Mars for 9 years until 2006, show that this cluster was blasted into the dusty surface between May 2004 and February 2006. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:16 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The authors interpret the thousands of downhill trending dark streaks on the flanks of ridges covering the area as dust avalanches caused by the impact. The largest crater in the cluster measures 22 meters, or 72 feet across, and occupies roughly the area of a basketball court. Most likely the cluster of craters formed as the meteorite broke up in the atmosphere, and the fragments hit the ground like a shotgun blast. Good day, is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:17 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The dark streaks represent the material exposed by the avalanches, as induced by the air blast from the impact. I counted more than 100,000 avalanches, and after repeated counts and deleting duplicates, arrived at 64,948. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:19 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. When Berlin looked at the distribution of avalanches around the impact site, he realized their numbers decreased with distance in every direction, consistent with the idea that they were related to the impact event. But it wasn't until he noticed a pair of peculiar surface features resembling a curved dagger, describing as skimitars, extending from the central impact crater, that the way in which the impact caused the avalanches became evident. Those skimitars tipped us off that something other than seismic shaking must be causing the dust avalanches, Verlet said. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. As a meteor screams through the atmosphere at several times the speed of sound, they create shock waves in the air, simulating the shock waves generated by impacts on Martian soil with computer models. The team observed the exact pattern of skimiters they saw on their impact site. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:21 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. We think the interference among different pressure waves lifts up the dust and sets avalanches in motion. These interference regions in the avalanches occur in a reproducible pattern. We checked other impact sites and realized that when we see avalanches, we usually see two skimiters, not just one, and they both tend to be at a certain angle to each other. This pattern would be difficult to explain by seismic shaking. And the data is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In the absence of plate tectonic processes and water-caused erosion, the authors conclude that the small impacts might be more important in shaping the Martian surface than previously thought. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:27 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Novel device removes heavy metals from water. Science Daily, December 16, 2011. Engineers at the Brown University have developed a system that cleanly and efficiently removes trace heavy metals from water. In experiments, the researchers showed that system reduced cadmium, copper, and nickel concentrations, resulting in returning contaminated water to near or below federally accepted standards. The technique is scalable and has viable commercial applications, especially in the environment, remediation, and metal recovery fields. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:28 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. An unfortunate consequence of many industrial and manufacturing practices, from textile factories to metalworking operations, is a release of heavy metals in waterways. Those metals can remain for decades, even centuries, in low but still dangerous concentrations. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Riding water of trace metals is really hard to do, said Joseph Kalo, Professor Emeritus of Engineering, who maintains an active laboratory at Brown. He noted the cost, inefficiency, and time needed for such efforts. It is like trying to put the genie back in the bottle. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:39 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. That may be changing. Kalo and other engineers at Brown describe a novel method that correlate trace heavy metals in water by increasing their concentration so that a proven metal removal technique can take over. In a series of experiments, the engineers report the method called a cyclic electro-winning precipitation CEP system removes up to 99% of copper, cadmium, and nickel, returning the contaminated water to federally accepted standards of cleanliness. The automated CEP system is scalable as well as Kalo. It has viable commercial potential, especially in the environmental remediation and metal recovery fields. The system mechanics and results are described in a paper published in the Chemical Engineering Journal. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 5:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. A proven technique for removing heavy metals from water is through the reduction of heavy metal ions from an electrolyte. While the technique has various names, such as electrowinning, electrolytic removal or recovery, or electroextraction, it all works the same way by using an electrical current to transform positively charged metal ions, cations, into a stable solid state, where they can be easily separated from water and removed. The main drawback to this technique is that there must be a high enough concentration of metal cations in the water for it to be effective. If the cation concentration is too low, roughly less than 100 parts per million, the current efficiency becomes too low and the current acts on more than the heavy metal ions. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 6:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. It took a few years to build and develop the system. In the paper, the authors describe how it works. The CEP system involves two main units, one to concentrate the cations and another to turn them into stable solid-state metals and remove them. In the first stage, the metal-laden water is fed into a tank in which an acid sulfuric acid or base sodium hydroxide is added to change the water's pH effectively, separating the water molecules from the metal precipitate which settles at the bottom. The clear water is siphoned off and more contaminated water is brought in. The pH swing is applied again, first redissolving the precipitate and then precipitating all metal, increasing the metal concentration each time. The process is repeated until the concentration of metal cations in the solution has reached a point at which electrowinning can be efficiently employed. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. When that point is reached, the solution is sent to a second device called a spouted particulate electrode SPE. This is where the electrowinning takes place, and the metal cations are chemically changed to stable metal solids so they can be easily removed. The cleaner water is returned to the precipitation tank, where the metal ions can be precipitated once again. Further cleaned, the supernatant water is sent to another reservoir, where additional processes may be employed to further lower the metal ion concentration levels. These processes can be repeated in an automated cyclic fashion as many times as necessary to achieve the desired performance, such as to federal drinking water standards. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 6:17 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In experiments, engineers tested the CEP system with cadmium, copper, and nickel, individually and with water containing all three metals. The results showed cadmium, copper, and nickel were lowered to 1.50, 0.23, and 0.37 parts per million pp, respectively, near or below maximum contaminant levels establishment by the Environmental Protection Agency. The sludge is continuously formed and redissolved within the system so that none is left as an environmental contaminant. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, and 6:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. This approach produces very large volume reductions from the original contaminant water by electrochemical reduction of the ion to zero valent metal on the surface of the cathodic particles. For an initial 10 ppm ion concentration of the metals considered, the volume reduction is on the order of 10 to the power 6. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 6:19 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Researchers' approach can be used for other ion metals such as lead, mercury, and tin. The researchers are currently testing the system with samples contaminated with heavy metals and other substances such as sediment to confirm its operation. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 9:57 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Climate change may bring big ecosystem shifts, NASA says. Science Daily, December 18, 2011. By 2100, global climate change will modify plant communities covering almost half of Earth's land surface and will drive the conversion of nearly 40% of land-based ecosystems from one major ecological community type, such as forest, grassland, or tundra, toward another, according to the new NASA University Computer Modeling Study. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 9:58 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The model projections paint a portrait of increasing ecological change and stress in Earth's biosphere, with many plants and animal species facing increasing competition for survival, as well as significant species turnover as some species invade areas occupied by other species. Most diverse land that is not covered by ice or desert is projected to undergo at least 30% change in plant cover, changes that will require humans and animals to adapt and often relocate. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 9:59 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In addition to altering plant communities, the study predicts climate change will disrupt the ecological balance between interdependent and often endangered plant and animal species, reduce biodiversity, and adversely affect Earth's water, energy, carbon, and other element cycles. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 10:01 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. For more than 25 years, scientists have warned of the dangers of human-induced climate change. A scientist who led the study while a postdoctoral scholar at Caltech. Our study introduces a new view of climate change, exploring the ecological implications of a few degree of global warming. While warming of melting glaciers, rising sea levels, and other environmental changes are illustrative and important, ultimately it is the ecological consequences that matter most. And today is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 10:02 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. When faced with climate change, plant species often must migrate over multiple generations, as they can only survive, compete, and reproduce within the range of climates to which they are evolutionarily and physiologically adapted, while Earth's plants and animals have evolved to migrate in response to seasonal environmental changes and to even larger transitions, such as the end of the last ice age. They often are not equipped to keep up with the rapidity of modern climate changes that are currently taking place. Human activities such as agriculture and urbanization are increasing, destroying Earth's natural habitats, and frequently block plants and animals from successfully migrating. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. To study the sensitivity of Earth's ecological systems to climate change, the scientists used a computer model that predicts the type of plant community that is uniquely adapted to any climate on Earth. This model was used to simulate the future state of Earth's natural vegetation in harmony with climate projections from 10 different global climate simulations. These simulations are based on the Intermediate Greenhouse Gas Scenario in the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change Fourth Assessment Report. The scenario assumes greenhouse gas levels will double by 2100 and then level off. The UN reports climate simulations predict a warmer and wetter Earth, with global temperatures increasing of 3.6 to 7.2 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 to 4 degrees Celsius by 2100, about the same warming that occurred followed by the last glacial maximum almost 20,000 years ago, except about 100 times faster Under the scenario, some regions become wetter because of enhanced evaporation, while others become drier due to changes in atmospheric circulation. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 10:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the research found a shift of biomes, or a major ecological community type, toward Earth's poles, most dramatically in temperature grasslands and boreal forests, and towards higher elevations. Ecological sensitive hotspots areas projected to undergo the greatest degree of species turnover that were identified by the study include regions in the Himalayas and then Tibetan Plateau, eastern equatorial Africa, Madagascar, and Mediterranean regions, South America and North America, Great Lakes, and Great Plains areas. The largest areas of ecological sensitivity and biome changes predicted for this century are, not surprisingly, found in areas with the most dramatic climate change in the northern hemisphere, high latitudes, particularly along the northern and southern boundaries of boreal forests. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 10:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: our study developed a simple, consistent, and quantitative way to characterize the impacts of climate change on ecosystems while assessing and comparing the implications of climate model projections. The new tool enables scientists to explore and understand interrelationships between Earth's ecosystems and climate to identify regions projected to have the greatest degree of ecological sensitivity. Good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 19, 2011, 10:13 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: in this study, we have developed and applied two new ecological sensitivity metrics, analogs of climate sensitivity, to investigate the potential degree of plant community changes over the next 3 centuries. The surprising degree of ecological sensitivity of Earth's ecosystems predicted by our research highlights the global imperative to accelerate progress towards preserving biodiversity by stabilizing Earth's climate. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 5:34 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: a galaxy blooming with new stars. Science Daily, December 15, 2011. The VLT Survey Telescope VS2 has captured the beauty of the nearby spiral galaxy NGC 253. The new portrait is probably the most detailed wide-field views of this object and its surroundings ever taken. It demonstrates that the VST, the newest telescope at ESO Paranal Observatory, provides broad views of the sky while also offering impressive image sharpness. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 5:36 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: NGC 253 gleams about 11.5 million light years away in the southern constellation of Sculptor. It is often just called the Sculptor Galaxy, although other descriptive names include the Silver Coin or Silver Dollar Galaxy. It is easy to get a good look at NGC 253 through binoculars, as it is one of the brightest galaxies in the sky, after the Milky Way's closest big galactic neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20th, 2011, 5:39 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: astronomers have noted the widespread active star formation in NGC 253, labeled it as a starburst galaxy. The many bright clumps dotting a galaxy are stellar nurseries where hot young stars have just ignited. The radiation streaming from these giant blue-white babies make the surrounding hydrogen gas clouds glow brightly green in this image. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 11:37 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: new kind of metal in deep Earth, iron oxide, undergoes transition under intense pressures and temperatures. Science Daily, December 19, 2011. The crushing pressures and intense temperatures in Earth's deep interior squeeze atoms and electrons so closely together that they interact very differently. With depth material change, new experiments and supercomputer computations have revealed that iron oxide undergoes a new kind of transition under deep Earth conditions. Iron oxide, FeO, is a component of the second most abundant mineral at Earth's lower mantle, ferro-para class. And good day, is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 11:38 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the findings published in an upcoming issue of the Physical Review Letters could alter our understanding of deep Earth dynamics and the behavior of the protective magnetic field, which shields our planet from harmful cosmic rays. And good day, is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 11:39 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: ferro-para class contains both magnesium and iron oxide to imitate the extreme conditions in the lab. Researchers studied the electrical conductivity of iron oxide to pressures and temperatures up to 1.4 million times atmospheric pressure and 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, on par with conditions at the core mantle boundary. They also used a new computational method that uses only fundamental physics to model the complex many-body interactions among electrons. The theory and experiments both predict a new kind of metallization in FeO. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 11:42 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Compounds typically undergo structural, chemical, electronic, and other changes undergo these extremes. Contrary to previous thought, the iron oxide went from an insulating, non-electrical conducting state to become a highly conducting metal at 690,000 atmospheres and 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, but without a change to its structure. Previous studies had assumed that metallization in FeO was associated with a change in its crystal structure. This result means that iron oxide can be both an insulator and a metal depending on temperature and pressure conditions. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 11:48 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. At high temperatures, the atoms in iron oxide crystals are arranged with the same structure as common table salt. Potassium chloride, just like table salt, FeO at ambient conditions is a good insulator. It does not conduct electricity. Older measurements showed metallization in FeO at high pressures and temperatures, but it was thought that a new crystal structure formed. Our new results show instead that FeO metallizes without any change in structure and that combined temperature and pressure are required. Furthermore, our theory shows that the way the electrons behave to make it metallic is different from other materials that become metallic. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 11:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, the results imply that iron oxide is conducting the whole range of its stability in Earth's lower mantle. The metallic phase will enhance the electromagnetic interaction between the liquid core and lower mantle. This has implications for Earth's magnetic field, which is generated in the outer core. It will change the way the magnetic field is propagated to Earth's surface because it provides magneto-mechanical coupling between the Earth's mantle and core. And good day, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Tuesday, December 20, 2011, 11:51 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The fact that one mineral has properties that differ so completely depending on its composition and where it is within the Earth is a major discovery, concluded Geophysical Laboratory. And good evening, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 11, 2011, 10:53 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Savannah chimps exhibit human-like sharing behavior, anthropologists say. Science Daily, December 1, 2011. Sharing food has widely been considered by scholars as a defining characteristic of human behavior. The new study by Iowa State University anthropology professor reports that the chimpanzees from her Mongolia research site also frequently share food and hunting tools with other chimps. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 11, 2011, 10:54 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The researchers witnessed 41 cases of Mongolia chimpanzees willingly transferring either wild plant foods or hunting tools to other chimpanzees, while previous research by primatologists had documented chimps transferring meat among other non-relatives. This is the first study to document non-meat sharing behavior. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 11, 2011, 10:55 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Breaking new ground on chimp sharing. The researchers document a frequency of sharing previous unreported for chimpanzees. The chimps commonly transferred meat and wild plant foods, but they also transferred tools, honey, and soil. Most of the transfer behavior was classified as recovery or passive sharing, with females commonly taking food from males, with much of that taking place from dominant to subordinate recipients. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today, Sunday, December 11, 2011, 10:58 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The environmental impact on sharing as the only habituated community of chimpanzees living in a savanna environment. The researchers concluded that Mongolia provides detailed information on the effect of an open, dry, and hot environment on social behavior and organization. Theories that it may also shed some light on how the earliest humans first came to share. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Sunday, December 11, 2011, 11:01 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. There are aspects of human behavior, and I think that's interesting because it is not exactly the same, but it may give you an idea of how sharing among early humans started. It is at least one scenario on how it could have come about in our own lineage. To me, it just reinforces how important the environment was. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 12, 2011, 4:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Multi-purpose photonic chip paves the way to programmable quantum processors. Science Daily, December 11, 2011. A multi-purpose optical chip which generates, manipulates, and measures entanglement and mixture to quantum phenomena, which are essential driving forces for tomorrow's quantum computers, has been developed by researchers from the University of Center for Quantum Photonics. This work represents an important step forward in the race to develop a quantum computer. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 12, 2011, 4:19 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The fundamental resource that drives a quantum computer is entanglement, the connection between two distant particles, which Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. The Bristol researchers have for the first time shown that this remarkable phenomenon can be generated, manipulated, and measured entirely on a tiny silicon chip. They called also the same chip to measure mixture, an often unwanted effect from the environment, but a phenomenon which can now be controlled and used to characterize quantum circuits, as well as being of fundamental interest to physicists. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 12, 2011, 4:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In order to build a quantum computer, we not only need to be able to control complex phenomena such as entanglement and mixture, but we need to be able to do this on a chip, so that we can scalably and practically duplicate many such miniature circuits in much the same way as the modern computers as we have today. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 12, 2011, 4:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The chip which performs several experiments that would each ordinarily be carried out on an optical bench the size of a large dining table is 70 millimeters by 3 millimeters. It consists of a network of tiny channels which guide, manipulate, and interact single photons, particles of light, using 8 reconfigurable electrodes embedded in the circuit. Photon pairs can be manipulated and entangled, producing any possible entangled state. If 2 photons are any mixed state, have 1 photon. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Monday, December 12, 2011, 4:26 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. It isn't ideal if your quantum computer can only perform a specific task, which is published in the Journal of Nature Photonics. We would prefer to have a reconfigurable device which can perform a broad variety of tasks, much like our desktop PCs today. This reconfigurable ability is what we have now demonstrated. This device is approximately 10 times more complex than previous experiments. Using this technology, it is exciting because we can perform many different experiments in a very straightforward way using a single reconfigurable chip. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 4:33 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The world's smallest frogs discovered in New Guinea. Science Daily, December 12, 2011. Fieldwork researcher Fred found the world's smallest frogs in southwestern New Guinea. This also makes them the world's smallest tetrapods, non-fish vertebrates. The frogs belong to the genus Pedophyron, all of whose species are extremely small, with adults of the 2 new species, named Pedophyron decote, Pedophyron verrucosa, only 8 to 9 millimeters in length. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 4:35 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The study was published in the open access journal Zookeys. Previous research had led to the discovery of Pedophyron and Creus in 2002 from nearly areas in New Guinea, but the genus was not formally described until last year. Creus 2010, also Zookeys. The 2 species described earlier were larger, attaining size of 10 to 11 millimeters, but the genus still represents the most miniaturized group of tetrapods in the world. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 4:37 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Miniaturization occurs in many frog genera around the world. The New Guinea seems particularly well represented, with species in 7 genera exhibiting the phenomenon, although most frog genera have only a few diminutive representatives mixed among larger relatives. Pseudophyron is unique in that all species are minute. The 4 known species all inhabit small ranges in the mountains of southwestern New Guinea or adjacent offshore islands. Their closest relatives remain unclear. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 4:39 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The members of this genus have reduced digit sizes that would not allow them to climb well. All inhabit leaf litter, and their reduced digits may be a corollary of a reduced body size required for inhabiting leaf litter and moss. Habitation in leaf litter and moss is common in miniaturized frogs and may reflect their exploitation of novel food sources in that habitat. The frog's small body sizes have also reduced the egg complements that females carry to only 2, although it is not yet known whether both eggs are laid simultaneously or at stage intervals. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 4:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Targeted proton transfer within a molecule, smallest conceivable switch. Science Daily, December 12, 2011. For a long time, miniaturization has been the magic word in electronics. Now have presented a novel molecular switch in the Journal of Nature Nanotechnology decisive for the functionality of the switch in the position of a single proton in a porphyrin ring with an inside diameter of less than half a nanometer. The physicist can set for distinct states on demand. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday the 14th, 2011, 4:51 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Porphyrins are ring-shaped molecules that can flexibly change their structure, making them useful for a wide array of applications. Tetraphenylporphyrin is no exception. It likes to take on a saddle shape and is not limited in its functionality. When it is anchored to a metal surface, the molecule has a pair of hydrogen atoms that can change their positions between two configurations each. At room temperature, this process takes place continuously at an extremely rapid rate. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2011, 4:54 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In their experiments, the scientists suppressed the spontaneous movement by cooling the sample. This allowed them to induce and observe the entire process in a single molecule using a scanning tunneling microscope. This kind of microscope is particularly well suited for the task since, in contrast to other methods, it can be used not only to determine the initial and final states, but also allows the physicist to control the hydrogen atoms directly. In a further step, they remove one of the two protons from the inside of the porphyrin ring. The remaining proton could now take on any of the four positions. A tiny current that allows the flows through a fine tip of the microscope stimulates the proton transfer, setting a specific configuration in the process. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2011, 4:57 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Although the respective positions of the hydrogen atoms influence neither the basic structure of the molecule nor its bond to the metallic surface, the states are not identical. This small but significant difference, taken together with the fact that the process can be arbitrarily repeated, forms the basis of a switch whose state can be changed up to 50 times per second. A single tunnel electron initiates the proton transfer. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2011, 4:58 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The molecular switch has a surface area of only 1 square nanometer, making it the smallest switch implemented today. The physicists are thrilled by their demonstration and are also very happy about new insights into the mechanism behind the proton transfer resulting from their study. To operate a 4-state switch by moving a single proton switch a molecule is really fascinating. It represents a true step forward in nanoscale technologies. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2011, 4:02 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. A small step for lungfish, a big step for the evolution of walking. Science Daily, December 12, 2011. The eel-like body and scrawny limbs of the African lungfish would appear to make it an unlikely innovator for locomotion, but its improbable walking behavior, newly described by the University of Chicago, scientists redraws the evolutionary route of life on Earth from water to land. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, 14th, 2011, 5:03 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Extensive video analysis published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences reveal that the African lungfish can use its thin pelvic limbs to not only lift its body off the bottom surface but also propel itself forward. Both abilities were previously thought to originate in early tetrapods, the limbed original land dwellers that appeared later than the lungfish ancestors. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2011, 5:04 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The observations reshuffles the order the evolutionary events leading up to terrestriality, the adaptation to living on land. It also suggests that fossil tracks long believed to be the work of early tetrapods could have been produced instead of lobe-finned ancestors of the lungfish. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:06 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In a number of these trackways, the animals alternate their limbs, which suggests that they must have been made by tetrapods walking on a solid substrate. Associate Professor of Organismal Biology and Anatomy. We found that aquatic animals with fundamentally different morphologies and that aren't tetrapods could potentially make very similar track patterns. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:07 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The lungfish is in a really great and unique position in terms of how it is related to fishes and to tetrapods. A graduate student and lead author of the study, lungfish are very closely related to the animals that were able to evolve and come out of the water and onto land. But that was so long ago that almost everything except the lungfish has gone extinct. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, 14, 2011, 5:09 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. All anecdotes and rumors circulated within the scientific community about the alleged walking behavior of these strange fish. Nobody looked systematically at the biomechanics of their locomotion. An African lungfish, Protoperus annectans, kept in the laboratory to study, co-authored, and the species' ability to walk on its unusual thin limbs. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. King and her colleagues designed a special tank in which the motions of lungfish could be videotaped from the side and below for in-depth analysis. The videos revealed that lungfish commonly use their hind or pelvic limbs to evaluate their body off their surface and propel themselves forward. Though the forelimbs look similar in the hind limbs, they were not involved in locomotion, the authors found. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:13 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. This is all information we can only get from a living animal, because if you were just to look at the bones like you would with a fossil, you might not ever know these motions could occur. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Lungfish also demonstrated by both bounding motions where both limbs moved at once. Walking marked by alternative limbs coupled with the ability of the lungfish to fully rotate the limb and place each subsequent football in front of the joint. The motion suggests that similar creatures would have been capable of producing some of the fossil tracks created to tetrapod. Muted. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. It is tempting to attribute alternating impressions to something like the footfalls of an early tetrapod with digits, and yet here we've got good evidence that living lungfish can leave similar sequences of similar gait. Professor of Organizational Biology and Anatomy. The fin or limb use thought to be unique to tetrapods is actually more general. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:19 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The lungfish's ability to use its thin limbs to support the bodies may be helped by the reduced demands of gravity underwater. By filling its lungs with air, the lungfish may increase the buoyancy of its front end, enabling the scrawny hind limbs to lift the entire body off the ground. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The discovery suggests that many of the developments necessary for the transition from water to land could have occurred long before early tetrapods took their first steps on shore. Ancestors of the lungfishes as well as tetrapods could have evolved hind limb propulsion and the ability to walk on the substrate at the bottom of the lake or marsh millions of years before limbs with digits and land-dwelling animals appeared. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 5:26 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Possible hints of Higgs boson remain in latest analysis, physicists say. Science Daily, December 13, 2011. Two experiments at the Large Hadron Collider have nearly eliminated the space in which the Higgs boson could dwell. Scientists announced in a seminar held in CERN December 13, however, the Atlas and CMS experiments see modest excess in their data that could soon uncover the famous missing piece of the physics puzzle. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 6:32 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The experiment's main conclusion is that the standard model Higgs boson, if it exists, is most likely to have a mass constrained to the range 116 to 130 gigavolts by the Atlas experiment, and 115 to 127 gigavolts by CMS. Tantalizing hints have been seen by both experiments in this mass region, but these are not yet strong enough to claim a discovery. Good morning, Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 6:33 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Higgs boson, if they exist, are short-lived and can decay in many different ways, just as a vending machine might return the same amount of change using different combinations of coins. The Higgs can decay into different combinations of particles. Discovery relies on observing statistically significant excess of the particles into which they decay rather than observing the Higgs itself. Both Atlas and CMS have analyzed several decay channels, and the experiments see small excess in low mass region that has not yet been excluded. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 6:39 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Higgs boson, if they exist, are short-lived and can decay in many different ways. Just as a vending machine might return the same amount of change using different combinations of coins, the Higgs can decay into different combinations of particles. Discovery relies on observing statistically significant excess in the particles into which they decay rather than observing the Higgs itself. Both Atlas and CMS have analyzed several decay channels, and the experiments see small excess in low mass region that has not yet been excluded. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 6:40 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Taken individually, none of these excesses is any more statistically significant than rolling a die and coming up with 2 6s in a row. What is interesting is that there are multiple independent measurements pointing to the region of 124 to 126 gigavolts. It is far too early to say whether Atlas and CMS has discovered the Higgs boson, but these updated results are generating a lot of interest in the particle physics community. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 6:44 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Even if the experiments find a particle where they expect to find the Higgs, it will take more analysis and more data to prove it is the standard model Higgs. Scientists found subtle departures from the standard model in the particle's behavior. This would point to the presence of new physics linked to theories that go beyond the standard model. Observing a non-standard model Higgs currently beyond the reach of the LHC experiments with the data they've recorded so far would immediately open the door to new physics. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2011, 7:06 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: trillion frame per second video. Researchers have created an imaging system that makes light look slow. Science Daily, December 13, 2011. MIT researchers have created a new imaging system that can acquire visual data at a rate of 1 trillion exposures per second. That's fast enough to produce a slow-motion video of a burst of light traveling the length of a 1-liter bottle, bouncing off the cap and reflecting back to the bottle's bottom. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:07 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the system relies on a recent technology called a streak camera deployed in a totally unexpected way. The aperture of the streak camera is a narrow slit. Particles of light photons enter the camera through a slit and pass through an electric field that deflects them in a direction perpendicular to the slit. Because the electric field is changing very rapidly, it deflects late arriving photons more than it does early arriving ones. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:08 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the image produced by the cameras is thus two-dimensional, but only one of the dimensions, the one corresponding to the direction of the slit. A spatial, the other dimension corresponding to the degree of deflection, is time. The image thus represents the time of arrival of photons passing through a one-dimensional slice of space. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:09 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the camera was intended for use in experiments where light passes through or is emitted by a chemical sample. Since chemists are chiefly interested in the wavelengths of light that a sample absorbs, or in how the intensity of the emitted light changes over time, the fact that the camera registers only one spatial dimension is irrelevant. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:11 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: but it is a serious drawback in a video camera to produce their super slow MO videos. Professor, experiments such as passing of light through a bottle over and over, continually repuzzling the streak camera to gradually build up a two-dimensional image, synchronizing the camera and the laser that generates the pulse, so that the timing of every exposure is the same, requires a battery of sophisticated optical equipment and exquisite mechanical control. It takes only an nanosecond, a billionth of a second, for light to scatter through a bottle. But it takes about an hour to collect all the data necessary for the final video. For that reason, good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: doing the math, after an hour, the researchers accumulate hundreds of thousands of data sets, each of which plots the one-dimensional positioning of photons against their times of arrival. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:12 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: the streak camera and the laser that generates the light pulses, both cutting-edge devices with a cumulative price tag of $250,000 were provided. Research of quantum dots, tiny light-emitting clusters of semiconductor particles that have potential applications in quantum computing, video display technology, biological imaging, solar cells, and a host of other areas. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:14 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: that camera works by bouncing light off a reflective surface, the wall opposite doorway, and measuring the time it takes different photons to return. But while both systems use ultra-short bursts of laser light and streak cameras, the arrangement of their other optical components and their reconstruction algorithms are tailored to their desperate task. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:16 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: because the ultra-fast imaging system requires multiple passes to produce this video, it can record events that aren't exactly repeatable. Any practical applications will probably involve cases where the way in which light scatters or bounces around as it strikes different surfaces is itself a source of useful information. Those cases may, however, exclude analysis of physical structure of both manufactured materials and biological tissues, like ultrasound with light. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note: as a long-time camera research, an ultimate dream is how do you create studio-like lighting from a compact flash? How can I take a portable camera that has a tiny flash and create the illusion that I have all these umbrellas? Arts and science. With an ultra-fast imaging, we can actually analyze how the photons are traveling through the world. And then we can recreate a new photo by creating the illusion that the photons started somewhere else. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011 at 7:21 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The techniques require so-called coherent light, meaning that the truss and crest of the light waves that produce the image have to line up with each other. If you happen to destroy the coherence when the light is passing through different objects, then it doesn't work. So I think it is much better if you can use ordinary light. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011 at 7:22 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. As photons bounce around in the scene or inside objects, they lose coherence. Only an incoherent detection method like ours can see the photons. And those photons learn more about material properties of the objects, about what is under their surface, and about the layout of the scene. Because we can see those photons, we could use them to look inside objects, for example, for medical imaging or to identify materials. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:27 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Computer simulations completed using supercomputers at the National Institutes for Computational Science and Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center and viewed using gigapan time machine technology show that thin streams of cold gas flow uncontrolled into the center of the first black hole, causing them to grow faster than anything else in the universe. The findings will be published in the Astrophysical Journal of Letters. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:47 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In the early days of the universe, a mere 700 to 800 million years after the Big Bang, most things were small. The first stars and galaxies were just beginning to form and grow in isolated parts of the universe. According to the astrophysical theory, black holes found during this era also should be small in proportion with the galaxies in which they reside. Recent observations from the Sloan Digital Sky Survey, SDSS, have shown that this isn't the case. Enormous supermassive black holes existed as early as 700 million years after the Big Bang. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:29 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The Sloan Digital Sky Survey found that supermassive black holes at less than 1 billion years. They were the same size as today's most massive black holes, with are 13.6 billion years old. It was a puzzle. Why do some black holes form so early when it takes the whole age of the universe for others to reach the same mass? And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:51 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Supermassive black holes are the largest black holes, with masses billions of times larger than the Sun. Typical black holes have masses only up to 30 times larger than that of the Sun's. Astrophysicists have determined that supermassive black holes can form when two galaxies collide and their two black holes merge into one. These galaxies collisions happened in the later years of the universe, but not in the early days. In the first few billions of years after the Big Bang, galaxies were too few and too far apart to merge. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:52 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. If you write the equations for how galaxies and black holes form, it doesn't seem possible that these huge masses could form that early. An associate professor of physics in Carnegie Mellon. But we look at the sky and there they are. We find out exactly how these supermassive black holes came to be. Cosmological simulation to date. The simulation focused on recreating the first billion years after the Big Bang. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011 at 7:53 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, the simulation is truly gigantic. It is the largest in terms of the level of physics and the actual volume. We did that because we were interested in looking at rare things in the universe, like the first black holes, because they are so rare. You need to search over a large volume of space. They began by running the simulation under conditions laid out under the standard model of cosmology, the accepted theories and laws of modern-day physics governing the formation and growth of the universe. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011 at 7:56 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. We didn't put anything crazy in. There's no magic physics, no extra stuff. It is the same physics that forms galaxies and simulation of the later universe. But magically these early quasars, just as had been observed, appeared. We didn't know they were going to show up. It was amazing to measure their masses and go, wow, these are the exact right size and show up exactly at the right point in time. It is a success story for the modern theory of cosmology. And good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:57 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Their simulation data was incorporated into a new technology developed by the computer scientists called gigapan. Time machine, the technology allowed the researchers to view their simulation as if it was a movie. They could easily pan across the simulated universe as it formed and zoom into the events that looked interesting, allowing them to see greater detail that could be seen using a telescope. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 7:58 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. As they zoomed into the creation of the first supermassive black holes, they saw something unexpected. Normally, when cold gas flows toward a black hole, it collides with other gas in the surrounding galaxy. This causes the cold gas to heat up and then cool back down before it enters the black hole. This process, called shock heating, would stop black holes in the early universe from growing fast enough to reach the masses we see. Streams of cold, dense gas flowing along the filaments that give structure to the universe and straight into the center of the black holes and breakneck speed make for cold, fast food for the black holes. The uncontrolled consumption caused the black holes to grow exponentially faster than the galaxies in which they reside. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 8:03 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Few allergies in unstressed babies. Swedish researchers find in Science Daily, December 12, 2011. A new study from Karolinska Institute of Sweden showed that infants with low concentrations of stress-related hormone cortisol in their saliva develop fewer allergies than other infants. Hopefully this new knowledge will be useful in future allergy prevention. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 8:07 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The incidence of allergies in children has increased over the past few decades, especially in the West. In Sweden, 30 to 40% of children have some kind of allergy. A combination of environmental and lifestyle factors during pregnancy and early infancy are thought to be responsible for the sharp rise in allergic diseases. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 8:08 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Psychosocial factors and the stress hormone cortisol are associated with allergic diseases. Our study found that children with low salivary cortisol levels as infants have a lower prevalence of allergies during the first 2 years of life compared to other children. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 8:09 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The team has previously described a link between a lower prevalence of allergies in school children and an anthroscopic lifestyle. And now we found the same link in infants from families that follow anthroposophic lifestyles and that they have relatively low levels of cortisol. The researchers believe that the factors related to stress regulation also influence the development of infant allergies and will now monitor the infants from the neonate period and into childhood. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 11:08 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Geometric figure. Any point, line, segment, ray, angle, polygon, curve, region, plane, surface, solid, etc. Formally, a geometric figure is any set of points on a plane or in space. Good morning, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 11:38 a.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Antipodal points. 2 points directly opposite each other on a sphere. That is, 2 points on opposite ends of a sphere's diameter. Note, for a sphere, antipodal means the same thing as diametrically opposed. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, 14, 2011, 1:13 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Hundreds of threatened species not on official U.S. list research show at Science Daily, December 12, 2011. Many of the animal species at risk of extinction in the United States have not made it onto the country's official Endangered Species Act, ESA. This according to new research from the University of Adelaide. Good afternoon, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:16 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The study has found that of the American species included on the IUCN Red List, 40% of birds, 50% of mammals, and 80 to 95% of other species such as amphibians, gastropods, crustaceans, and other insects were not recognized by the ESA as threatened. Good afternoon, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:17 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. National Red Lists are used by many countries to evaluate and protect locally threatened species. ESA is one of the best-known international lists and arguably the world's most effective biodiversity protection law. Good afternoon, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:18 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The study has found that one of the American species included on the IUCN Red List, 40% of birds, 50% of mammals, and 80 to 95% of other species such as amphibians, gastropods, crustaceans, and insects were not recognized by the ESA and threatened. Good afternoon, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The ESA has protected species since its establishment in 1973, and it may have prevented 227 extinctions. However, the implementation of the ESA by successive U.S. governments has been problematic, including poor coverage of imperiled species, inadequate funding, and political intervention. Good afternoon, it's Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Vague definitions of endangered and threatened and the extinctions of warranted polluted category on the ESA list are also contributing to the gap in species classification. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:21 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The ESA is a powerful environment law, but its impact is limited. With many species being overlooked, this does not bode well for the ESA's ability to mitigate species decline before they become critically imperiled. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:23 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Whole new meaning for thinking on your feet. Brains of small spiders overflow into legs. Science Daily, December 12, 2011. Smithson researchers report that the brains of tiny spiders are so large that they fill their body cavities and overflow into their legs. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. As part of an ongoing research to understand how miniaturization affects brain size and behavior, researchers measured the central nervous system of 9 species of spiders, from rainforest giants to spiders smaller than the head of a pin. As the spiders get smaller, their brains get proportionally bigger, filling up more and more of their body cavities. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:25 p.m. Eastern Time. No. The smaller the animal, the more it has to invest in its brain, which means even very tiny spiders are able to weave a web and perform other fairly complex behaviors. We discovered that the central nervous system of the smallest spiders fill up almost 80% of their total body cavity, including about 25% of their legs. And today, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:26 p.m. Eastern Time. No. Some of the tiniest immature spiderlings even have deformed, bulging bodies. The bulge contains excess brain. Adults of some species do not bulge. Brain cells can only be so small because most cells have a nucleus that contains all of the spider's genes, and that takes up space. The diameter of the nerve fibers of axons also cannot be made smaller because if they are too thin, the flow of ions that carry nerve signals is disrupted, and the signals are not transferred properly. One option is to devote more space to the nervous system. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:28 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. We suspected that the spiderlings might be mostly brain because there is a general rule for all animals called Taylor's rule. That says the body size goes down, the proportion of the body taken up by the brain increases. Human brains only represent about 2 to 3% of our body mass. Some of the tiniest ant brains that we've measured represent about 15% of their biomass, and some of these spiders are much smaller. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 1:29 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Brain cells use a lot of energy, so these small spiders also probably convert much of the food they consume into brain power. The enormous biodiversity of spiders in Panama and Costa Rica made it possible for researchers to measure brain extension in spiders with a huge range of body sizes. The Philia clavipes and the rainforest giant weighs 400,000 times more than the smallest spiders in the study. Nymphs and spiders in the genus Myzema. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:01 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. New path to flex and stretch electronics. Artificial electronic skin device capable of detecting and responding to touch. Science Daily, December 13, 2011. Imprinting electronic circuitry on backplanes that are both flexible and stretchable. Promises to revolutionize a number of industries and make smart devices nearly ubiquitous. Among the applications that have been envisioned are electronic pads that can be folded away like paper, coatings that could monitor surfaces for cracks and other structural failures, medical bandages that could treat infections, and food packaging that could detect spoilage. From solar cells to pacemakers to clothing, the list of smart applications for so-called plastic electronics is both flexible and stretchable. First, however, suitable planes must be mass-produced in a cost-effective way. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:02 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Researchers with the U.S. Department of Energy DOE's Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory Berkeley Lab have developed a promising new, inexpensive technique for fabricating large-scale, flexible, and stretchable backplanes using semiconductor-enriched carbon nanotube solutions that yield networks of thin-film transistors with superb electrical properties, including a charge carrier mobility that is dramatically higher than of organic counterparts. To demonstrate the utility of their carbon nanotube backplanes, the researchers constructed an artificial electronic skin, e-skin, capable of detecting and responding to touch. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:03 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. With our solution-based processing technology, we have produced mechanically flexible and stretchable active matrix backplanes based on fully passivated and highly uniform arrays of thin-film transistors made from single-walled carbon nanotubes that evenly cover areas of approximately 56 square centimeters. And today, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:04 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The demand of our plastic electronics so high, research and development in the area has been intense over the past decade. Single-walled carbon nanotubes, SWNTs, have emerged as one of the top contending semiconductor materials for plastic electronics. primarily because they feature high mobility for electronics as a measure of how fast a semiconductor conducts electricity. However, SWNTs can take the form of either a semiconductor or a metal, and a typical SWNT solution consists of 2/3 semiconducting and 1/3 metallic tubes. This mix yields nanotube networks that exhibit low on and off current ratios, which poses a major problem for electronic applications, as lead author of the Nanoletters paper. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:07 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. An on and off current ratio as high as possible is essential for reducing the interruption from pixels in an on and off state. For example, with our eSkin device, when we are pressure mapping, we want to get the signal only from the on-state pixel on which pressure is applied. In other words, we want to minimize the current as small as possible from other pixels which are supposed to be turned off. For this, we need a high on and off current ratio. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:09 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. To make their backplanes, co-authors use an SWNT solution enriched to be 99% semiconductor tubes. This highly purified solution provided the researchers with high on and off ratio, approximately 100 for their backplanes, working with a thin substrate of polyimide, high-strength polymer with superior flexibility. They laser-cut a honeycomb pattern of hexagonal holes that made the substrate stretchable as well. The holes were cut with a fixed pitch of 3.3 millimeters and a varied hole side length that ranged from 1.0 to 1.85 millimeters. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The degree to which the substrate could be stretched increased from 0 to 60% as the size length of the hexagonal hole increased to 1.85 mm. In the future, the degrees of stretchability and directionability should be tunable to either changing the hole size or optimizing the mesh design. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:12 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Backplanes were completed with the deposition on the substrates of layers of silicon and aluminum oxide, followed by the semiconductor-enriched SWNTs. The resulting SWNT thin-film transistor backplanes were used to create eSkin for spatial pressure mapping. The eSkin consisted of an array of 96 sensor pixels measuring 24 square centimeters in area, with each pixel being actively controlled by a single thin-film transistor. To demonstrate pressure mapping, an L-shaped weight was placed on top of the eSkin sensor array with the normal pressure of approximately 15 kilopascals, 313 pounds per square foot. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In a linear operation regime, the measured sensor sensitivity reflected a threshold improvement compared with previous nanowire-based eSkin sensors reported last year by our group. This improved sensitivity was a result of the improved device performance of the SWNT backplanes. In the future, we should be able to expand our backplane technology by adding various sensor and or other active devices components to enable multi-functional artificial skins. In addition, the SWNT backplane could be used for flexible displays. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:18 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Follow your nose. Compared to Neanderthals, modern humans have a better sense of smell. Science Daily, December 14, 2011. Differences in the temporal lobes and olfactory bulbs also suggested a combined use of brain functions related to cognition and olfaction. The increase of brain size is intimately linked to the evolution of humanity. Two different human species, Neanderthals and modern humans, have independently evolved brains of roughly the same size, but with differing shapes. This could indicate a difference in the underlying brain organizational. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:19 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The researchers use sophisticated 3D methods to quantify the shape of the basal brain as reflected in the morphology of the skeletal cranial base. Their findings reveal that the human temporal lobes involved in language, memory, and social functions, as well as the olfactory bulbs, are relatively larger in Homo sapiens than in the Neanderthals. The structures which receive olfactory input are approximately 12% larger in modern humans than in Neanderthals. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:20 p.m. Eastern Time. These findings may have important implications for olfactory capability and capacity in human behavior. In modern humans, the size of the olfaction bulbs is related to the capacity of detection and discrimination of different smells. Olfaction is among the oldest sense invertebrates. Also, it is the only one that establishes a direct connections between the brain and its environment. While other senses must pass through different cortical filters, olfaction goes from the environment right into the highest centers of the brain. What is more, olfaction never sleeps, because we always breathe and perceive smells. The neuronal circuitry of olfaction coincides with that of memory and emotion, the limbic system, which explains the enormous memory retention and vital intensity of olfaction-mediated life events. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:22 p.m. Eastern Time. Booknote. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, who also contributed to the current publication, could recently show differences in the patterns of brain development between modern humans and Neanderthals during a critical phase for cognitive development. In the first year of life, the brains of Neanderthals and modern humans develop differently. Modern humans have smaller faces and smaller noses than their Neanderthal cousins. However, the part of the brain that processes smells is bigger in modern humans than in Neanderthals. Evidence is accumulating that Neanderthals and modern humans independently evolved large brains and that their brains might have worked differently. Our new study offers a glimpse into the functional significance of these developmental differences. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:24 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, olfactory information projects to brain regions directly responsible for processing of emotion, motivation, fear, memory, pleasure, and also attraction. Neuroscientists have coined the term high olfactory functions to describe those brain functions, which combine cognition, memory, intuition, perception, judgment, and olfaction. The greater olfactory bulbs and relatively larger temporal lobes in each sapiens compared to any other human species may point towards improved and different olfactory sense, possibly related to the evolution of behavioral aspects and social functions. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, and 3:28 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. Tycho star shines in gamma ray, NASA Fermi shows. Science Daily, December 13, 2011. In early November of 1572, observers on Earth witnessed the appearance of a new star in the constellation of Cassiopeia, an event now recognized as the brightest naked-eye supernova in more than 400 years. It is often called the Tycho supernova after the great Danish astronomer Tycho Brahe, who gained renown for his extensive study on the object. Now years of data collected by NASA Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope reveal that the shattered stars remain shine in high-energy gamma rays. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:29 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, the detection gives astronomers another clue in understanding the origin of cosmic rays, subatomic particles, mainly photons, that move through space at nearly the speed of light. Exactly where and how these particles attain such incredible energies has been a long-standing mystery, because charged particles speeding through the galaxy are easily deflected by interstellar magnetic fields. This makes it impossible to track cosmic rays back to their sources. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, fortunately, high-energy gamma rays are produced when cosmic rays strike interstellar gas and starlight. These gamma rays come to Fermi straight from their sources. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:31 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, better understanding the origins of cosmic rays is one of the Fermi key goals. Its large area telescope LAT scans the entire sky every 3 hours, gradually building up an ever deeper view of the gamma ray sky. Because gamma rays are the most energetic and penetrating form of light, they serve as signposts for the particle's acceleration that gives rise to cosmic rays. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:32 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. This detection gives us another piece of evidence supporting the notion that supernova remnants can accelerate cosmic rays. Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:32 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. In 1949, physicists, the satellite's namesake, suggest that the highest energy cosmic rays were accelerated in the magnetic fields of interstellar gas clouds. In the decades that followed, astronomers showed that supernova remnants may be the galaxy's best candidate sites for this process. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. When a star explodes, it is transformed into a supernova remnant, a rapidly expanding shell of hot gas bounded by the blast shockwave. Scientists expect that magnetic fields on either side of the shock front can trap particles between them in what amounts to a subatomic ping-pong game. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:34 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick now. A supernova's remnant magnetic fields are very weak relative to Earth, but they extend across a vast region, ultimately spanning thousands of light years. They have a major influence on the course of charged particles. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:34 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. As they shuttle back and forth across the supernova shock, the charged particle gains energy with each traverse. Eventually, they break out of their magnetic confinement, escaping the supernova remnant and freely roaming the galaxy. And Good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:36 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The LAT's ongoing sky survey provides additional evidence favoring this scenario. Many younger remnants, like Tychos, tend to produce more high-energy gamma rays than older remnants. The gamma ray energies reflect the energies of the accelerated particles that produce them, and we expect more cosmic rays to be accelerated to higher energies in younger objects because the shock waves in their tango magnetic fields are stronger. By contrast, older remnants with weaker shock waves cannot retain the highest energy particles, and the LAT does not detect gamma rays with corresponding energies. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:38 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The supernova of 1572 was one of the great watersheds in the history of astronomy. The star blazed forth at a time when the starry sky was regarded as a fixed and unchanging part of the universe. Tycho's Canaride accounted his discovery of the strange star gives a sense of how radical an event it was. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:39 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The supernova first appeared around November 6, but poor weather kept it from Tycho until November 11, when he noticed it during a walk before dinner. When I had satisfied myself that no star of that kind had ever shone forth before, I was led into such perplexity by the unbelievability of the thing that I began to doubt the faith of my own eyes. And so, turning to the servants who were accompanying me, I asked them whether they too could see a certain extremely brighter star. They immediately replied with one voice that they saw it completely, and that it was extremely bright, he recalled. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, November 14, 2011, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The supernova remained visible for 15 months and exhibited no movement in the heavens, indicating that it was located far beyond the sun, moon, and planets. Modern astronomers estimate that the remnant lies between 9,000 and 11,000 light years away. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:41 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. After more than 2.5 years of scanning, the sky LAT data clearly show that an unresolved region of GeV billion electron volt gamma ray emission is associated with the remnant Tycho supernova. For comparison, the energy of visible light is between about 2 and 3 electron volts. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:42 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. We knew that Tycho's supernova remnant could be an important find for Fermi because this object has been so extensively studied in other parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. We thought it might be one of our best opportunities to identify a spectral signature indicating the presence of cosmic ray protons. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:43 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. The science team model of the emissions is based on the LAT observation along with higher energy TeV trillion electron volt gamma rays mapped by ground-based facilities, radio and X-ray data. The researchers conclude that the process called pion production best explains the emission. First, a proton traveling close to the speed of light strikes a slower-moving proton. This interaction creates an unstable particle, a pion with only 14% of the proton's mass. In just 10 billionths of a billionth of a second, the pion decays into a pair of gamma rays. And good day, this is Dr. Will, CBMD, PhD. Today is Wednesday, December 14, 2011, 3:44 p.m. Eastern Time. Quick note. If this interpretation is correct, then somewhere within the remnant protons are being accelerated to near the speed of light, and then interacting with slower particles to produce gamma rays, the most extreme form of light. With such unbelievable going on, and what's left on this unbelievable star, it's easy to imagine that Tycho himself might be pleased. And